Prime Minister Narendra Modi will attend the first ever in-person Quad Summit hosted by US President Joe Biden today. The other participants are Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison and Japanese Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga. The summit will be held at the White House in Washington. We have with us defense expert Ajay Shukla, who will explain the significance of the summit and outline India's expectations going in. He will also brief us on the impact of the new Trilateral Security Alliance, AUKUS. What is the significance of the first in-person Quad Summit?
So the quadrilateral dialogue, or the Quad Summit as it's called, it ostensibly brings together four democracies, the United States, India, Japan, and Australia, to resolve issues in the Indo-Pacific. And these are largely issues connected with Chinese aggression, like the intrusions upon freedom of navigation and other elements in the global commons, as they're called, which the Quad tries to say it belongs to all nations and should not be monopolized by one, as China tries to do. Now, China views this as an anti-China grouping. And since the exercise Malabar of 2007, that's an exercise in which the navies of the four Quad countries come together and exercise together. China objected to it and has asked questions about its purpose and why these democracies are coming together. It feels targeted. Now, the Quad has been growing steadily. The four countries have met first at official level, then at foreign minister level. In March, President Joe Biden hosted the first ever summit of the Quad leaders in virtual format. And now on the 24th, they will meet in person. So it is striving for an Indo-Pacific region that is free, open, inclusive, anchored by democratic values. And the message is sought to be sent to China. This time, the Ministry of External Affairs in its briefings has said that the leaders will also exchange views on global issues such as critical and emerging technologies, connectivity, infrastructure, cybersecurity, maritime security, humanitarian assistance, disaster relief, climate change, and education.
What are India's expectations from this particular summit, and what does it hope to achieve?
It should be said at the output that there are no deliverables. When diplomatic meetings are held, sometimes there are deliverables, like you were expecting an announcement to be made about some kind of mutual item. But this time there are no deliverables. Holding the summit is an objective in itself. It brings continuity to the Quad's objectives. It brings it high-level attention. And of course, what is never said is that it maintains the pressure on China. The summit also provides a political framework for the four-nation exercise Malabar, the naval exercise that we talked about, which brings the four navies together and which has been growing in complexity and sophistication. So they rehearse exercises, anti-submarine, anti-surface warfare, anti-air operations. All these are rehearsed by the four navies together, so that if China ever needs to be militarily confronted, there's a well-rehearsed plan for doing so.
What function does the AUKUS serve? Is it going to be more effective? Is there something new here?
To begin with, we've got to be absolutely clear, AUKUS does not have any participation from India. It's a new purpose-built alliance between three countries, very close partners, traditional partners. That's the US, the United Kingdom, and Australia, that perhaps coincidentally happen to largely represent the white Anglo-Saxon world. Like the Quad, the AUKUS alliance has a geographical center of gravity in the Western Pacific, which is, as we all know, the place where the rising power of China is increasingly manifesting itself. Now, AUKUS is being formed barely 1 month after the completion of US troop withdrawals from Afghanistan. So it's safe to assume that these three Western powers, US, UK, and Australia, all of which were together embroiled in that war in Afghanistan, now feel unconstrained and able to devote mind space and the military muscle to the new challenge posed by China. So they are building up capabilities and military might in the Indo-Pacific theater. Now, the seriousness with which all of this is being taken is evident from the promise of nuclear submarine technology. It's something that the United States has never shared with anyone except for the UK in 1958. It is now promised to do so for Australia. So Australia can expect to have a fleet of nuclear-powered submarines that will again put added pressure on China, will increase the military might of the AUKUS grouping. Besides sharing submarine technology, the three countries have also said there are plans to share intelligence, quantum technology, cruise missile technology, to name a few. Now, let's remember, there are already alliances that do all of that. For example, there's the Five Eyes Alliance, intelligence sharing arrangement that incorporates the US, UK, Australia, all three of the AUKUS countries, as well as New Zealand and Canada. But, it's not such a close partnership. There is a fear that in case one has to take a hard decision, like going to war, New Zealand and Canada might not sort of agree to that. So it could well be that AUKUS eventually becomes the main alliance. It eventually pushes the Quad to the strategic sidelines. All three AUKUS members are long-standing allies, remember, that have stood together, fought together in multiple conflicts, recently Afghanistan and Iraq. And that readiness to spill blood on one another's behalf is a crucial factor. Could India be a part of the grouping? It is unlikely. We'll see in the months ahead. There's an 18-month consultation period for AUKUS, where they'll decide procedures, joint activities, and so on. But eventually, India itself is not given to joining alliances. Mostly, it wants to retain freedom of action for itself. So for now, I think we are going to watch India watching AUKUS from the sidelines.
Hopefully, India-China relations will move on a positive trajectory going forward, and both sides will be able to manage their differences without further conflict.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.